Hey YouTube, it's Wes. Hope you guys are doing awesome. In today's video, we're going to go back to some old school roots here. We're going to jump into a very cool crypto that I covered back when my channel was just itty bitty, like that big, like not very much at all. This, my friends, is FEG, Feed of Every Gorilla. I've been pretty excited about where FEG has been going. I've just had to pause on it while the roadmap was building and waiting to see what was going to happen. So in today's video, I'm going to give you an update on what's happening in the FEG roadmap so you can be aware and you can make your own wise financial decisions. As always, I say this over and over and over. This is not financial advice. Never listen to YouTubers. Do not do what I do. I am not telling you to buy anything. I'm just covering a crypto that I personally am excited by, and you can dive in and do your own research as well. Okay, all of this and a whole bunch more coming right up. Hey friends, thank you guys so much for joining again. Wes Spencer. We're jumping right into FEG, Feed Every Gorilla. We're going to cover some of the new cool stuff around SmartDefi, and I think it's making some really good moves in the crypto space. So let's start with a couple things first. One, would you hit the like button? Please, it goes a long way. Like literally the algorithm is built for the like button. If you don't hit it, this video goes nowhere. So share this with friends, hit like, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, check out the merch that I've got. I've got some very cool t-shirts. Not this one, unfortunately. This is my new company, Roost. You guys definitely got to check out what we're doing in the robotic process automation space. If you don't know me, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I do this because it's my side hustle and my passion, and I really enjoy it. But I am a startup entrepreneur, and I can officially announce Roost is on the way, and I have joined the team, and it is really cool. rewst.io. Check out what we're doing there as well. Okay, so let's get started with this. A lot of times, I don't like covering crypto projects where the teams are anonymous. And there's a whole lot of reasons for this, right? One thing that I'm very cognizant of on my channel is this. I have influence. And I never want to steer people into projects or out of projects using my influence because there is a good chance I will be wrong on things that I say. And I never want to be someone that gets on the news because some crazy person put a mortgage on the house to buy some crypto that some YouTuber named Wes Spencer told them about, right? Like, this is why I mean it when I say don't listen to YouTube, like all the YouTubers are out there. They truly don't know what they're talking about. Go pick the biggest ones out there down to the smallest. They're no more right or wrong than anyone else. I don't care what they say. There's so much speculation in this space. So let me be clear on today's video. Even though FEG is, for the most part, not completely, but for the most part, anonymous, I still like the project and I like where it's going. That doesn't correlate to me telling you to go buy it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying make your own decisions on this. I'm just going to cover some of the news and the updates. A couple other things I will say I think are important too. I'm still a holder. I never did sell any of my FEG. Man, FEG went for a wild ride. When I covered it, it was tiny. It blew up. I remember and I'll just be transparent. I bought about $1,000 worth of FEG just to watch and YOLO and see what would happen. I remember it blowing up. For me, it went up to $60,000 and I didn't sell it. I continued to hold. It's gone up and down. And now for me, it's right around $6,000 is what it's worth. So I've definitely made my money. I've just been diamond hands the whole time. Second thing I think you need to know. I've received $0 from FEG. I am not sponsored by them. I have talked to them a few times, but I take no money from them and I don't want any of their money. I don't need their sponsorship. I don't need them to pay me. If they feel like they want to do that for the free press I'm giving them here, why don't you go give it to a charity, FEG team? Don't give it to me. Go give it to somebody that needs it much more than me. I'm not interested in that. I don't really need the money for this YouTube channel. I'm in it for the influence. Okay, so I said a whole bunch of prefacing to get to this point, and I'm sorry for that, but I just needed to make sure that I level set with you guys in my audience before we jump in. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not telling you to go buy it, in any of that kind of stuff. Ooh, coughing here. Okay. So let's do a recap on FEG, right? So FEG is interesting. It's a small market cap, right? 363 million. So it's less than 1 billion. You guys know on this channel, I talk about these small 1 billion market caps. They certainly have a lot of room to grow. We'll have to see what the market does. And honestly, FEG has gone up and down. it's really tied itself in with what's happened in the rest of the market. When it was blowing up, when I mentioned my 1,000 went to 60,000, that was awesome, but the market was doing really, really well at the same time. And then when the market fell apart, FEG fell apart, right? So nothing good or bad about that. It is what it is, but it's a smaller market cap. Tons and tons of supply. It's one of those burn tokens that I've covered before on my channel. Burn tokens, there's literally, in this case, quadrillions of them, and then they burn over time. I'm not going to cover that. You can go back to my old YouTube videos if you want to see more around this. But I did want to focus this right here. It's a small market cap. It has a lot of room to grow. Now, what makes FEG a lot different from a lot of these other burn tokens are a number of things. A lot of the burn tokens have zero utility, like literally nothing. Many are complete scams. Many of you guys probably saw all the scams around the squid token. There are so many of these scams around burn tokens because they're anonymous, because they're very easy to set up. Those things make them rife for fraud. And I want you to know this. Be very careful with any token where you don't know who the founders are. In fact, be careful with tokens where you do know who the founders are. That's something you've got to be aware of. And I actually made a video of this. I'm going to show it to you. Not the video, but I'm going to show you the website. I made my own crypto token. It's on the Binance network. It's called Dictator Coin. And for those of you who don't know, I have this big thing on LinkedIn where I'm always talking about when I'm elected dictator, life is going to be better. Cybercrime will be lower because I'm going to, handle all the right. It's all this stuff. And so here's Dictator Coin, and I made my own promo video. I paid like one of those movie preview guys from Cameo to do my like voiceover, and then I made the video and I got the tokenomics. But the whole thing is a total scam. It's a scam because it's literally worthless. It's my own token, my own coin that I created. I actually have a lot of fun with it. I give it away to friends and things like that. But it's not worth a penny, not a cent. Actually, it's worth 0.0, lots of zeros if you even wanted to get to a cent, right? My point is this. I spun it up for a couple $100 and it could just as easily be a rug pull. If I gave it out to a ton of people and started trading heavily, I could rug pull it, right? And so a lot of these burn tokens are exactly that. They're total rug pulls. You can't trust them, but FEG is doing some moves in this space that I think is really solid that's trying to address some of that. So there's FEG, go check it out. And what I wanted to talk about a little bit more was the SmartDefi updates that they have coming out, because this is, I think, the differentiator inside of the FEG ecosystem. So as the time of this video, it's coming out in 6 hours. Look at this, 6 hours even. Good timing for me. So here's what's neat about this. Think of it like a template. They even call it this. It's a token template. It's a way to generate a token that gives you the capability to have some assurance that this whole thing can't be like a total rug pull. And I'm going to explain this at a real high level. They've even, by the way, they trademarked SmartDefi. I went and looked this up in the trademark patent office just to see if I could find an address of somebody or like docs FEG rocks in the team, just because I'm that kind of guy. And I did find a Delaware corporation, but it looks like it's a shell corporation. But I do find that interesting that they trademarked the SmartDefi. So here's a couple of things around all of it. And there's a lot to say around this, and I want to keep it as short as possible because this video could really go quite long. But a couple different things, right? So it has its own swap protocol and liquidity built into it. So what's nice about that is you can just trade right on the FEGX platform. You can trade the token natively. It's going to work and interoperate with other tokens that have been created in this ecosystem. The smart swap stuff. So I saw some of this being announced and I was like, okay, that's really cool. I think it's important, especially in the Ethereum based token world. Fees are crazy expensive. So the ability for people to buy and swap without tons of money is in fees is a good thing. And then this right here. So when I saw this come out, I'm like, I still don't know exactly how this works. I have to trust them on this, right? So the token liquidity is held inside the token's own contract, which makes it inaccessible and you can't rug pull. In other words, when I suppose when you use their smart deployer to create your own token, it's going to, I guess, automatically put all of the liquidity into the contract. In other words, I don't have access to it if I'm the creator, so I can't market it and then mass sell off a bunch, because I suppose the way the contract works is it all is forced to go into the contract itself, into the liquidity. And if that's the case and it works the way they say it does, that's a big deal. In other words, if again, the contract is good, the code is written well, and it's secured, anything built on SmartDefi means at least the classic rug pulls can't be done. which is a good thing. Now, let's be honest, I think there's other ways you could do a rug pull, right? Like maybe you could go buy a ton of it on your own early on and then go sell it like when the price goes up a lot. There's some things like that, but I mean that can happen in any project. It kind of is what it is for early adopters. But I do think that's a big deal. Frictionless rewards, so rewards for holders, and then the FWrap stuff, which is just FEG wrapping. There's a lot of these tokens and exchanges and bridges that let you wrap another token with another. I'm not going to talk about that too much. So I think it's pretty interesting the way it all happens and the way it works. And then there's a couple other things I think are neat too. The price is the way that the contract works. The price continues to go up over time. So there's no decrease in the price. And the reason for that is when trades are made, some of it goes back into the liquidity and it prevents it from ever like going down below the original threshold, I guess is the best way to say it. So there's some really neat things about it. And then this is where I was really interesting. So this was built off FEGROX. Actually, let me say that backwards. That's incorrect. FEGROX, which is the founder of FEG, or one of the founders, I suppose, his own token was created with the deployer. And I think that's really cool. So I remember when his token came out right here, FEGROX, and a bunch of people tweeted at me like, hey, Wes, are you going to cover it? And at the time, let me be honest, I'm just a normal everyday crypto YouTuber. So what I mean by that is I'm not really that smart of a person. And if I have a critique on FEGROX at the time, I was reading all of this stuff right here. And I'm like, I don't understand all of this. Like smart swap, like at the time, elimination of rugs, like how can you prove all of this to me? I was new to the space. And there was no way for me to really understand. I even talked to like a couple of the FEG team on Twitter, and I told them, hey, look, I'm not against what's happening with FEGROX. I just don't understand it. And the way it was written, I didn't understand it. Well, really what helped me in this was when I saw here on their SmartDefi, they're like, we used FEGROX as sort of like the foundation in the pattern for what's going to happen with all the other tokens created from SmartDefi. I'm like, oh, okay, this makes a whole lot more sense. So I think that's really cool. Now I understand what FEGROX is doing a lot more. It just took a while for me to understand this. And so here's the way this thing works. I'm going to hit play on this video and I'm going to turn the volume way off because you guys don't want to hear that reverberating. And let's just maximize this. It should work for us. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here's the way this thing works. So I don't have access to this yet. I would love to play with this and see kind of how it all works. Oh man, my video is right over the phone, but I think it's still okay. So here's the way this works. So you're going to enter in, it's like a lot of these token generators. It's similar to one of the generators I used to create my own scam coin dictator token, right? So you're going to, I'm going to have to minimize this so you can see a little bit better. There we go. Okay. So you set your transaction fees. So you're going to have some control over that when people buy and sell. What's the transaction fee itself? Is it 4%, 2%? I've seen some as high as like 15% on fees. And then what you do is you're gonna choose a couple other things like what's your asset backing, and they explain what each of these things are. I thought, yeah, right here. Let me hit play. So that's the percentage of the transaction, and then that goes back into the asset backing pool. So that's the liquidity pool itself that goes back. So when transactions are made, some of it goes back into the liquidity pool to make sure there's liquidity to keep the price stable, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on showing you how to do this yet because I don't have access to it. And if you guys are interested, when this is released for normal people like you and me, I'll absolutely review this and create a token on this. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Or if it's possible for me to move my dictator coin into this, I'm open to that as well. But someone from the FEG team is going to have to reach out to me and let me know if that's possible. So anyway, I like the app. The app is super clean, super simple, easy to get set up. Once you put in your fees, your price floors, then what you're going to do is you're going to create the token. You're going to deploy this to the swap. So right here is where you actually wrap it with BNB. And I think the way that works, because I did this with Dictator Coin when I introduced it into Pancake Swap, is the amount of BNB you put in initially is what determines its price, right? So if I'm poor, I want to put in 0.1 BNB, then my token is going to be worth very little. If I put in, especially if I create 1 billion of my tokens, if I put in 50 BNB or 1,000 BNB, that sets the price floor at a much higher level. I think that's the way that works. So that's what the wrapping is going to do. And then you're going to approve this into, and this is what creates the actual contract. And it deploys all of this into the FEG ecosystem. And eventually you wait for the transaction to complete and you activate it into the swap and there it goes. And I think where it begins and where you actually have access to it is inside of the FEG ecosystem, all the FEG swap stuff. And so I think that's really, really neat, right? You're going to see all of that right here under FEGX right here. So this is the actual exchange, if I'm going to get trade on it. And I would assume that it would show up here. Now, why is the FEG team doing this? Well, two reasons they've said why they're doing this. Reason number one is they hate rug pulls. So far, they've not been a rug pull. And FEG itself, the way it's been written, especially with all of the SmartDefi stuff, supposedly is rug pull proof, which is really nice. So that's the first reason they did it. The second reason they did it is FEG is the ecosystem. So everything trading on FEG will have rewards for FEG holders. And I think the FEGROX holders as well. And so it just builds the entire community. When you bring other people into your community and they can use your software, your equipment, your capabilities, we all grow together. And so FEG holders will grow through all of that. That's kind of the way the whole thing works. A couple other things I wanted to show you. One is this right here. So I was curious. I asked, and I guess I should go over here. I put a tweet out and a ton of people answered this. And I had some questions. One of those ones was I said, do you know any projects that are using this, the deployer? So I'll click on this and you can see a whole bunch of people have written back to me saying, yeah, here's projects that are on the way that are going to be using the deployer. Now, I'm not speaking for any of these. I'm not endorsing any of these. I'm not even endorsing FEG or SmartDefi or FEGROX. I'm not endorsing any of them. But a bunch of people came back and gave me some examples of these. And one that was really helpful was this right here. And I'll put a link in the description so you can get to it. This is SD tokens. And this is going to list, I suppose, all of the tokens that are coming into the FEG ecosystem that are built off the deployer. So I think that's really awesome. I've got Soros up right here. This is just a sample one that I built. Oops, sorry, let me go back to this. There we go. So you can see the tokenomics behind Soros, the website for it, the liquidity pool, the white paper for it. Its percentages, all that kind of stuff. So I suppose there's some early projects that were given into the ecosystem from SD, or that SD tokens is showing. But if you want to go back and take a look at all of the ones that I suppose are coming out, I guess they'll all be showing up here. So more to show later when I have more information around all of this. I guess let me say one more thing, just because I'm being overly clear here. Just because these tokens are built off SmartDefi, while it may be impossible for them to be rug pulled in like the same sense that like Squid token was, doesn't mean they're all going to be successful, right? It all comes down to the market. It comes down to their marketing. It comes down to, product market fit. Is there a use case for all of this? Is there growth? Some may grow and then fall down. Some may take a long time to grow, So I'm not endorsing any of them. I'm just showing you where you can get more information around all of these things. And definitely check out my Twitter feed, because there's a bunch of data that the entire FEG army popped into this, which was really helpful. Those guys are awesome. And here are a couple of these. I've been digging into some that claim to be being built on the SmartDefi, or they already exist. Like this Dexalot, I suppose, is going to start using this. They were tweeting at me. There's another one, Pumps a Lot, or Pump whatever it is. Yeah, Pumps a Lot. I don't know anything about any of these other than I'm just letting you know. There are ecosystem apps that are coming out for it, which I think is really cool. So there you have it. I'm pretty excited about where FEG is going. I think for the most part, the direction is good. I'm very excited to see how this impacts how the SmartDefi impacts the ecosystem of FEG. I think it's going to bring a lot of people in. I think it's going to give a lot of capabilities, and it certainly gives us some safety mechanisms and safety nets that exist as well, knowing that certain contracts, the liquidity has been built into the pool. It's not going to be rug pulled. I think that's good. I think we need a lot more of that. There's way too many scams in this world of crypto. So do your own research, see what you think about it. I'd love to know what your thoughts are overall. I think it's really cool. I like where this is going. I'm still a FEG holder, will continue to be a FEG holder because I think it's a great project, and as in all things, I love the journey. And so I'm following their journey along with a whole bunch of others. All right, my friends, if you haven't hit like already, would you do that for me real quick? Hit subscribe, share this with some friends. Until next time, my friends, thanks. I will see you later.